Hey guys, so today I created a C++ video, my first ever C++ video, but I realized that I went a little bit too fast, so I just wanted to go over a few things again, and yeah, so let's get right to it. Um, so the first thing that I wanted to say is, that I forgot to say in my first video, is that each C++ file ends with a .cpp extension. So example would be hello.cpp. Sorry, that's my friend Eric. Ignore that. Okay, so each C++ file ends with a .cpp extension, and what happens is this .cpp file let's pull up Windows Journal. So a .cpp file is compiled into a .obj file, or an object, or an object file, and then this in turn is linked, and this in turn is built and linked and turned into a .exe file, or on Windows, or .sh on Linux, or whatever system you're using. Yeah, that's the gist of it. It's not as simple a process as that, but that's the broad look of it. So let me get my magnifier on just so you guys have a little closer look. As you can see, CPP to an object file, or a .obj file, to a .exe or .sh or whatever. So there are also these other files known as header files, and these header files contain the essential functions in C++, and we'll explain what a function is later, that you use in your programs. So header files end with .h. Example of a header file is stdafx.h. That's a file you know what this is if you use Visual Studio. I don't use Visual Studio. I use Code Blocks because personally I'm just not a fan of Visual Studio. Okay. So enough of that. I think that in the last lecture I didn't really give you guys much of I kind of just quickly went over a C++ program and how to create one, but I didn't tell you guys what each section was. So let's create our own C++ program, our own simple hello world program. Pound include IOStream. In older versions, you'd have to use pound include IOStream.h, but the newer versions have virtual header files, which no longer require the .h extension. Using namespace std. Int main cout hello world return 0. Okay. So this is the same program essentially that we saw last time, but I just want to go over what this is. So we're gonna do what we call a C++ comment, and we're gonna explain what each section is. So that's how you do a C++ style comment, just 2 double slashes. And this is known as the preprocessor directive. IOStream over here contains the cout object, the cin object, and several other input-output objects. Consider this the input-output stream. These pound include statements are preprocessor directives. So they essentially bring us the necessary files, objects, and functions that we need to use in our program. Using namespace std. This is actually optional. If you didn't put this using namespace std, instead of cout, you would have to put std hello? Sorry about that, guys. That was a distraction. So again, back to where we were. If we didn't use using namespace std, we would have to put std cout hello world inline. But since we use namespace std, since we put this statement in there using namespace std, wait, I did undo that. I did not mean to do that. We don't need the std and 2 colons. We just could put cout. So what does cout do exactly? Cout is console output. It prints stuff to the screen. So like we showed you here, run the program, it prints hello world inside a console window. Yeah. And then this return 0 again, like well, actually before that, this end line over here skips to the next line, and this return 0 again, all it does is make sure the program executes and exits properly. So that's literally the basic dissection of a simple C++ program. In the future, we're going to have programs that are way more complex than this. This is just output. Wait until you learn about inputs, objects, for loops, while loops, etc. It's a really fun ride, and I hope you guys enjoy it with me. Thanks.